not saying don't do the job you do, but while you're doing the job that you're doing, ensure that you're also building yourself, because one of them is going to be recession proof. And it's not the job that you do, but the gifts that you do manifest and put to work. That is recession proof. My name is Doyin. I'm a psych nurse practitioner. Welcome to Rethink Life with Doyin, where we unlearn to relearn. The title of the topic tonight is going to be importance of living or discovering your gifting and purpose. So I feel like more than ever, especially right now, it is very important for us to live in our gifting. I believe in God, definitely. I'm very spiritual, and a lot of things that I would say are, based on my beliefs, and also my experiences in life, and also just living in my purpose and my experience, what that feels like. I help people live in their passion, monetize their passion, and ensure that they can live the dream life they really want to. I believe it's not about, saying, oh, my mom said, or you have a vision of what you think you want to be. You're really going to know what you're supposed to be, why you exist, right? Discovering your purpose. Why do I exist? Who am I? Those are the things that I do, and I help people discover what that is. If someone wants to open their business, this is also something that I do to help you discover. So, because you don't want to just open businesses, right? What makes you stand out? What is that thing that is going to make you stand out, and people are going to come to you for that? Whether it be as a psych nurse practitioner, whether it be, any kind of, area of life or works of life you may be in when it comes to the field. Doesn't matter if you're, cosmetologist, whatever that is. I want you to tie your business to your purpose, because this is something that's going to stand the test of time. You don't want to just go ahead and open businesses. You want to stand and be someone of value. And this is what even with my clients that I see in my practice, I ensure that they are, most of the time people go to colleges, we go ahead and study. We are in a profession whereby we feel like, sometimes when we discover who we really are, we may realize that what we studied, it's really not actually what we wanted to, like, does not align with our purpose, right? We, of course, unfortunately, we know this later on. But what I'm trying to do is I want to make sure that the younger generation, so this channel is also children friendly. It's also for people that are, teenagers, or college, or people that are just trying to change the department they're in, or they want to just, venture into something that they truly feel this is what their spirit being has been telling them to do. Some people may be afraid to want to venture into that. They don't know where to start. They're not even sure how to begin. They are scared of, would they really have the life, and would they really be able to make money? I don't want people to open businesses and make so much mistakes. I want to ensure that when you open your business, it's going to be effective for you, for your life, and also help you build the wealth that you want for you on the long run, not just, for the lifestyle you want. So I want you to be a legend. That's what it's all about. So here we go. Again, please go ahead and comment down below if you have any question or anything in general that you want me to go ahead and cover tonight. Again, discovering your gifting and your purpose. Sometimes people think gifting is talent. It's synonymous, but it's not all the way accurate, right? Your gifting doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be your talent. I remember when I used to go to churches and they will preach and say, oh, discover your purpose, live in your purpose, all this stuff. And I'm looking at them like, which one am I supposed to do, right? Because sometimes people are you have multiple talents, right? Some people can cook, they can sing, they can dance, they can teach, they know how to speak. Like, it's a whole lot of things. And you're wondering to yourself, which one am I supposed to stay focused on? Which one am I supposed to get started on, right? Absolutely. I felt the same way. I was like, which one am I supposed to get started? I'm going to school. I can sing, I think I can act a little bit, right? I can, do a lot of things, and I can also, inspire people. Which one should I focus on? When you actually discover your purpose, you discover yourself. It's very crazy, right? It reveals even much more of who you are. You get more revealed. Knowing yourself is one, but you get to even go deeper into who you really are. So let's put it this way. This is what helped me in the beginning. I felt to myself, I said, oh, okay. I've always heard people say that, in the Bible, you can find out about wealth. You can find out about, the reason for your being. You can also tap into wealth, right? By going to, learn more about the Bible. And I was like, I don't know how that is, but I'm like, you know what? I also want to find out. right? I felt tired at one point. I was doing a job, and yes, I was making a living, but I didn't see myself doing that for the rest of my life. I felt like it felt like too, like, it felt heavy. It felt like heavy work. I was like, okay, I want to make money, but I don't want to be feeling like I'm dying in the process of trying to make money. I felt like I wasn't in my gifting. When I say gifting, there's some things that I would up, like I would do a show whereby I help you. I would talk about how you can discover your niche. When I say niche, it means that you are in a suitable environment that allows your gift to manifest, right? That allows your gifts to be refined. That's what I mean by gifting. That's what I mean by niche. So sometimes, right, we may be working a job. Just because you're working a job, you will notice that sometimes we are in the wrong job, right? We are in the wrong work life, whereby, for example, maybe you're someone that likes to be hands on, but the job you do requires you to use your brain, use your feet for the most part. Every time, of course, we're using our brain, but some people are thinkers and some people are more of like, they the way, they're thinkers. Some people are learners, which means that, for example, you show them what to do, they can go ahead and they can go ahead and replicate that. I am not someone I don't do hands-on. I'm not a hands-on kind of person. So if you put me in a company, or if you put me at a job, right? For example, I was a nurse, and now I'm a psych nurse practitioner. If you put me, I was working a job as a nurse. I was more of a skilled, right, hands-on. I'm like, for me, that felt like heavy work. I'm more of a thinker. I'm more of, someone that is thinking things through. I'm trying to analyze, okay, why is this happening? What is the reason I'm doing this? So in that case, if I'm in an environment or a workplace that allows me to, utilize those skills. Like when I worked as a director of nursing, the guy was like, "Oh my God, Doyin, you're so good at this," right? And it's not because nobody taught me how to be a director of nurse. I just was someone that I took initiative of things, and I know how to think and process things through. When you're looking forward, when you like in life, when you're going forward, right? Things may not make sense to you. But when you think back and look back to where you've been, where you've worked, why you did the job, why you liked a certain job more than the other, it would all make sense. So everything that is happening for you, right? Everything that is happening in your life is definitely, don't get it wrong, just because you may not necessarily be in your life purpose right now does not mean that you are doing, you're not going to be, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to the creator. The person that created you for a being. And you know how they say your what is yours is always going to be yours. Yeah, that is so truthful. What is yours, what is destined to be yours will always be yours. You, even though if you go through many channels to get there, if it's meant to be, and it is for you, it will be yours. Initially, it may not make sense because you're like, initially, most of us are trying to do trial and error, right? We're trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure out what's going to fit, what is going to bring us money. But one thing about living in your purpose or your gifting is that when it comes to gifting, right, you can sometimes the jobs you do will allow the gifts to be refined. You want to ensure for your children, right, for your siblings, for your nieces and nephew, the new generation, and even us that are still alive, we want to ensure that we are in a profession that allows our giftings to be refined. You don't want a situation whereby your gift is buried where you're working. Most of the time, most of us, we have been curtailed to believe that we have to, you go ahead, don't get it wrong. Go to high school, you get a job, and make a living. But it's not always like you're living in survival mode when you are still working a job that is not in your gifting. Even the Bible talks about how you want to make sure that while you're doing a certain job, right, or your job. When I say job, when I say job, I'm talking about the career path you're in. But when I say your life work, it could also be a career path you're in. There's a difference between life work, and also there's a difference between your purpose, right? They're very synonymous. Your life work can is definitely your purpose, but at the same time, the work that you do, right, could also be a part of your life work. That's what I mean by that. So I'm going to explain a little bit more. So for me, I remember when I opened the Bible and it talks about being fruitful, right? It talks about how we are all created in the image of God. And for me, I was like, oh, okay. So that means for me, I'm like, if I'm created in the image of the creator, I believe that so for me, I felt like, oh, okay, I am a creative being. right? I have God's characteristics in my life. And again, like I said, this is not a preaching moment. This is just, I believe in God, and I hope anyone on my channel also understands. Doesn't matter. I'm not really about religiosity. I'm all about spirituality and you believing in God. So for me, I was like, okay, if the reason for my being, right, is that I was created in the image of God, that means I have the characteristics of what God is. I was okay. I want to really understand deeper who this person is, who God is, who this spirit being is. And by understanding him, I can understand myself a little bit much more. So I found out through my journey the importance of, it's not about faithfulness, right? A lot of the times when it comes to, us believing in the creator, we believe that, oh, God, please bless me, all this stuff. We want to ensure we do, good to others and everything like that. And that's all beautiful. That's all part of the process. But for me, I realized that the reason for my existence, right? The reason for my being is to be fruitful in life. And oftentimes, sometimes in the, when we go to churches, or when even culturally, right? People will say, the reason for your existence is to be fruitful. People think productivity. They think of, but when I say productivity, they're thinking of seedfulness. They're thinking of you giving birth to children. So for them, right, fruitfulness is about giving birth to multiple children, but it's really not, right? It's really not. That's not when you read the Bible, you have to really understand, like, it's really talking about, it's not about seedfulness, right? That's not. So every one of us is carrying a seed. I'm carrying a seed, you're carrying a seed, and this seed that you're carrying, you're supposed to let it germinate. You're supposed to let it be refined. You're supposed to let your seed, be in a thriving environment so that it can then bloom forth. When you are in a thriving environment, which is what I call the niche, you want to be in the right niche, the right department. Think of it like that, because that's where it's going to allow your gift to be manifested. If you're not in the right environment, it's not going to be manifested. It's going to be buried and you're going to feel burnt out. It's going to be like a wasted effort. So you don't want that to be your case. So let's go a little bit here, right? Fruitfulness. When we talk about fruitfulness, the existence of being is not about faithfulness. It's about fruitfulness. It's about you ensuring that the seed you carry, which every one of us has that, is being germinated in the right environment. You must know your gifting. And I've spoken about this on my Rethink Life with Doyin. I have a podcast. I'm on Spotify and all the podcast channel. And also on YouTube, I talk about how to discover your purpose. And I'm going to do in real time what that looks like and what that entails. Most successful companies, right? They also utilize this same idea of fruitfulness. So let's say you're carrying a seed within yourself, right? For example, let's say someone that knows how to bake, right? If bacon is what God has, inscribed into you that you're supposed to be. So, for example, some people, let's put it this way, may know how to bake, right? And they sometimes think that they're supposed to be bakers or they're supposed to be chefs, right? It doesn't always necessarily work that way. There are a lot of things that you have to focus on, which has to do with the qualities of what is the reason why you like bacon? What is the reason? Is it about the fact that you like to put things together? And right, is it about putting things together? That is what it's all about. Because sometimes we're focusing on the bacon, right? Yes, bacon could be the your life work, your purpose, right? And when I say bacon being a life work or purpose, I'm also referring to the fact that on the long run, you're going to be fighting a cause. Your life work has to be attached to fighting a cause. Then it becomes a purpose. Your work that you're doing, which is the job you're doing, right, could literally just have attributes of the gifting that God has given you. So for example, the baker, right, or the chef, maybe they're working a job. They might not be working in the kitchen, right? They might not be working in the kitchen. It might be the attributes of what it entails about baking or putting things together. It might be the organizational skill. It might be the fact that they're able to follow rules and regulations. When I say qualities, those are the qualities that I'm referring to. So for example, someone like me, I like to cook, but I'm not someone that follows things to the letter. So I may not necessarily, I'm more of a very flexible, person. I like to put things together. I'm not really, status quo with everything. But someone that is a baker, they follow rules and regulation. So you have to pay attention to the attributes of what makes whatever you like. For example, let's say you love music, right? And somebody else may think, oh, I'm supposed to be a musician when when they were younger, they love music. And they think that musician is what they're supposed to be, but not really. right? When it comes to your job that you want to do, it may necessarily not mean that you're supposed to be a musician. It may just means that, okay, maybe musician may could be your purpose. Let's even put that on the side, right? Let's say with music, the characteristics of music would be like maybe you know how to ensure there's rhythm, right? You know how to ensure that things are cohesive. So those are the qualities and characteristics. So you may want to thrive. You may thrive in an environment that allows for cohesiveness. So when it comes to like your life works, the attributes of what makes the things you are feel attracted to is those are the things that will now come together that would then allow you to discover what is the right environment for you to be in. So every one of us is carrying something that is bulletproof. This is what I'm going to say. We are all carrying something that is bulletproof. What do I mean by that? More than ever, especially right now, the society that we live in, most of us, I'm sure you can all relate. Working a job is not going to pay your bills the way you want it. We are all going to be in survival mode the more we keep working the job. We have to ensure that while we are working the job, we are also ensuring for personal development, personal growth for our being. And this is why because the thing is that your skills that the skills that you attain, right, in a job, those are skills. But the gifts you have, nobody can take that away from you. The gifts I have, nobody can take it away from me. And it is very important that we discover what those gifting are. Like I said, on the next show, I'm going to talk about how you can discover your niche and how you can utilize your gifting to be able to then make money out of this. So people can fire you for with the skills. Let's say, for example, skills of nursing. The people can fire me from doing catheterization. They can fire me with those skills that they've taught me, but they cannot fire me from the gifting that God has given in that has built upon me. The gifting that I have is how to help people literally, number one, live in their purpose. Number two, that's something I discovered through my journey while I was in my niche with my company, Ubridge Health. I discovered that while I was in my niche. So first, you must be in your niche. You must be in the right career. You must be in the right environment. For example, let's talk about the Steve Jobs, right? And the person, the founder, or better yet, even let's say Amazon. Let's use Amazon, one that we can relate to. Every one of us can relate to this, right? He was working in a company, and then he left the company, right? Because obviously he left the company, and he then established his own because he found something while in the career path where he was. While he was in that job, he found something that he could then go ahead and establish for himself. So you want to be in the right environment. When you are in the right niche, you will find a problem. You will see a problem in whatever you are in. You will see a problem, and you'll go ahead and then you can go ahead and solve it. I'm in my company right now, and the problem that I have found is that people are not in the right career path for themselves, which then adds to the problems of mental health issues. Most of the time you spend in life, you're spending at least 40 years on average working. 40 years of on average you're working. That is going to affect your mental health. 40 years of working is affecting your mental health. One of them is going to liberate you if you're in the right environment. The other one is going to suppress and make you feel down and depressed. So this is why I now found this problem, and now I'm trying to solve that in the world. That's the same way. So this is how you become legendary because you keep refining the gifts that you have. So when you discover your gift, you refine the gift and you become more fulfilled, right? While you are in your purpose, don't get it wrong, life is hard. I'm sure we can all relate. Life is not easy, right? Whether you are in your gifting and whether you're not in your gifting, it feels tough. It's hard. I get it. But you know what's interesting? One is going to leave you more fulfilled. And better yet, right? I think this one they said, losing weight is, gaining weight is not. I mean, I think there was a post that says, you gain weight, right? To lose it is hard. To gain it as well, maybe not so hard. But point is, if you want to try to lose weight, it's gonna be hard. If you want to do anything in life, it feels hard. Whether you do something or you don't do something, it doesn't mean that you're gonna have an easier life, right? So if you don't live in your gifting or you do live in your gifting, doesn't mean that it's gonna be easy. But one thing that's gonna help you while you're in your gifting is that oftentimes it's very interesting because along the journey I discovered that I always say, and it kind of sounds crazy, but I do say that God is not evil, right? And I know it sounds crazy. Of course, we all know that, but sometimes people think to themselves, why is it that I am living like it's like bad things are happening to good people, right? People feel that way sometimes, like, oh, I'm doing everything I want to do, but it just feels like things always go wrong regardless. And I have discovered that, life is very simple. It's really very simple. A lot of us are thinking that we have to try to discover what it is. But I believe, and I know for sure that I believe that God, and I know most of you know this, that your end is already set. God already, like when He created you, your ending was already, like He already knew what your ending is. What I believe life is that most of us are thinking we're trying to like figure out what life is for us. Like we're trying to like juggle into multiple things, which is like trial and error we're doing. But one thing I've realized is not try and error. Literally, if you lean within yourself, you have to lean within the spirit that is within you, right? It's not a try and error. There's something every one of us is carrying. There's something in within you that is knocking on your door, that is knocking on the heart, that is knocking in your heart and is telling you to let it out. Most of us are fearful. We don't want to do it because we're afraid that, oh my God, if I do this, would I really have the means to ensure this is going to be like, would I even be a success? Right? Because sometimes you think to yourself, the things you want to do, somebody else is already doing it. Then you think, why should I even bother? They're already so good at it. Why should I go ahead and start that bakery? Or why should I go ahead and start that show? Why should I go ahead? Somebody's already doing it better than I am. Why should I even go ahead and do it? It's a God, right? It's something within your heart, but you're fearful. Or the world is gonna say something about it. People are gonna say, oh, it's not perfection, especially social media. People are like, oh my God, everything is all like posh on social media. Nobody's showing you the reality of how things really look like. So a lot of us are very fearful to want to attain or achieve our goal, even if we know that this is my gifting. This is something that I have, this is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to do. We feel fearful. I get that. But one thing I know for sure, and I'm a living example of that, I opened my practice immediately. It's crazy. I opened my practice right from school. I didn't work for anybody else. Okay, I did not. It was because the spirit guide, like God brought people literally. And I was like, oh, I didn't even, like, I'm like, I guess one day I'll tell you guys my story. I was like, I guess I have to open a practice now. And I was like, okay, you know what? I look back at my life and I look back at the situations I've been in and how I had to literally, I had to, it's like I didn't really get that much training for a lot of things that happened in my life. And I survived. So I said, you know what? If I could survive those moments where I had barely any training, and I bet you most nurses, you guys can all relate to this, right? You go to places, you work, and they don't even give you any orientation. What is that? No orientation, right? In the not just for nurses, depending on what area you may be in, you put you somewhere, and it's like there's really no orientation. You just you're thrown in the fire, and you're supposed to survive. But somehow, some way, you did survive, right? Somehow, some way. I'm not saying don't go ahead and get the help you need, but I'm just saying you made it no matter what. And that's how the spirit, like God reveals in time, literally through the spirit, whatever you believe in, it reveals literally. It's like a flower. It just reveals one step at a time, and one step and at a time. When you look back, then it makes sense. But looking forward, it does not make sense at first. You may feel like you're not up to par. Right now, I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes I'm like, I know I'm trying to help people discover their life purpose. I'm trying to help them discover their niche. But in my head, I'm like, are people even listening? I'm like, it seems like even I have people that I'm close to, and I tell them this is what I do. And it's almost like people don't even, it's like, oh, okay, why should I even bother asking her? Or they don't even bother. And one thing that helped me along my journey is that, you know, um, I remember the story for me, the story of Joseph, right? How yes, he had a vision. There's a vision that I saw, and everyone, and when you are literally lean within yourself, doesn't matter what religion you're in. God is not about religion. He's about your spirituality. It's that crazy. And like I said, there's a whole lot of things. I read the Bible and everything like that. But even if you don't believe in God, even if you don't, let's even assume you don't even you are in a different religion. But if you're following His path, don't get it wrong, you'll still make it to heaven. It's in the Bible too, just FYI. If you were by yourself on this earth, and how would you know you're doing the right thing? Wouldn't you lean within yourself to ensure that it feels right within you? Absolutely. For me, and I know for certain, the Holy Spirit is in each and every one of us. But if you don't listen to it, it's going to leave you. Don't get it wrong, it will. So, importance of discovering your gifting and your purpose. It's going to help you because number one, yes, it will be tough. But the thing is that it's much more fulfilling. Number two, you get to really attain all the success that you really want to attain for life. The job you do is not going to do that for you. But if you're in the right environment, right gift, no, right job, right career path, that may help you. Even when they do fire you, just ensure that while you're working a job, you also work. It's not about having two jobs. Sometimes you're having multiple jobs, you may not necessarily be in your purpose for life. Okay, when your purpose, literally, it's everything you need is within you. It's everything you're good at. It's everything you hate. It's crazy. And that's why God wants you to be the change in the world. People think that death of humanity is death when we all die and nobody is, giving birth to more children. Not necessarily. The death of humanity is the death of ideas. Not just the ideas, but bringing it to fruition. Making that idea, put it into work. That's the death of humanity. If someone didn't create this that we have right now, if someone didn't create some things that we have during COVID, we may have this whole world may be extinct. Ideas, it's really what propels us forward. And bringing it to fruition is what propels us forward. I bet you sometimes most of us, we have had ideas and we never put that to work. And somebody else probably created that idea. And you're like, oh my God, that was my idea. I had that in my mind. I remember when I was younger, there was something that I was like blowing, there was like a crayon, no, not a crayon, a marker you used to blow. And I'm like, I had that idea in my mind. And I was like, I used to do it. Then later on, next thing I saw someone already making money out of it, selling it to people. I didn't go ahead, or better yet, maybe I didn't know how to at that young age. But there's so many ideas like that you guys have all had, and you never go ahead and activate it. If you don't activate it, well, guess what? Somebody else that follows their true calling, they will make money out of it, and you wouldn't. So I'm not saying don't do the job you do, but while you're doing the job that you're doing, ensure that you're also building yourself, because one of them is going to be recession proof, and it's not the job that you do. The job that you do is not recession proof, but the gifts that you do manifest and put to work, that is recession proof. A man's gift makes room for him in the world, right? So your gifting is what makes room for you in the world. It's not the job, okay? It's not the job that you do, right? Your work is your gift, right? You can never retire from that. Your gifts will liberate you. Your gifts will also liberate others. Your gifts is also going to, and don't get it wrong, initially people may not necessarily, they will some people will, say some things about it. Some people, you may not have a lot of followers, don't get it wrong, in the beginning, but then just with consistency and also discipline, it also helps. But your gifting is going to reveal all of who you are. Is going to reveal the parts that are great and the parts that are not great. And your gifting is also going to increase your faith. It's going to force you to truly believe in that being, or God, for me, God, that you truly believe in. It's going to reveal your faith level. So in the Bible, faith is defined as a belief in God and his promises. It's based on trust and confidence, even though there is no total proof. That's really the existence of our being. Your desires, God really wants you to live your desires. He wants you to live out your desires on earth. He wants you to have heaven on earth. He really wants you to do that, and he wants that for you. So you must live in your gifting, and you have to, again, you may not see it, right? It's like someone that created the phone or the computer. Initially, people didn't see it, right? Using our face to open our phones. If somebody told me that was ever going to happen, I would say that's a lie. Even when I heard about it, I'm like, nah, that's not real, right? It felt very unreal. But exactly, it's the fact that the person had that idea and they allowed it to be manifested. That's how it works. So the vision I have in my head, all I'm doing right now is I'm refining my gifts. I'm refining my gifts. I'm refining the work that God has given to me that I should do. And one day it's going to come to pass. It's sometimes you may feel low, sometimes you may feel down, but the vision and also the dream, that the life desires that God puts in your heart that you should live, those are the things that are going to motivate you. It's not about someone telling you, nobody, people, you can have potential all you like. Nobody pays for potential. Nobody pays for your potential. They may see it. And the things people say, I also want you guys to lean on the positive things that people say about you. Oftentimes, we let people define us based on the negative things they say about us. No, don't let people, don't be defined by the negative things that people say about you. No, for me, the things that people said that were positive, those also allowed me to feel encouraged to proceed and then jump into and literally plunge into opening my business. Don't listen to the negative sayers. If it's coming from a place of love or constructive criticism, that's different. But if they're saying something to bring you low or down, don't listen to that. That does not define you. To become successful is when you find your gift. Even the Bible talks about how we have to dominate the earth, right? We have to dominate the earth and we have to subdue it. So it's not just about discovering your gift. It's about and now allowing your gift to be refined, let it manifest, and then you take over. Okay, so it's gonna be a journey. Success is not it's not in one day. My journey for my spirit guide is gonna be a 7-year process. This is not overnight, I get it there. No, no, no. It's going to be a 7-year process. I'm just in the process right now. I'm not all the way there yet. I'm still working on refining my gift. I'm reading. It's expanding bigger parts of myself that I never even thought or imagined. I normally don't get it wrong. I like to read, but I'm not like someone that I never would ever imagine that I'll be reading the way I do now. But you're in your gifting, right? Passion pays. Remember I told you that when I feel like I had multiple talents and I wasn't sure which one to begin. I wasn't sure which one to venture into. One thing, and I listened to something today, and I've had a client ask me the same question too. She said, Doyin, which one should I proceed and start first? Um, what I'm gonna say to you, and I know this is true, the one you should begin first is the one you're most passionate about. Um, I met a couple of young ladies yesterday, and I told them how I did a rap song. I don't know how to rap. I don't know how to rap, okay? But I know how to sing. And I told them, I said, I did a rap, right? And I did a rap. You guys will hear it one day. And I let them hear the rap. And when I listened to the message that I listened to recently today, where it talks about do the one that you're most passionate about. And it talks about how when you do the one that you're most passionate about, your other gifts are going to somehow align within that passion in the one that you first did that you're most passionate about. And that is so true, right? I did the one that I'm most passionate. The one I'm most passionate about is about helping the world, helping someone else, right? This the one that you're most passionate about is the one that if they don't pay you a dime for it, you'll still do it. That's the ultimate gift. Our ultimate gift in life is to influence the world. Don't get that wrong, but it's to influence the world with the gifts you have. When people say, "Oh, I'm working so hard," sometimes you could be working hard at the wrong thing. Like I told you, in your gifting, it will liberate you. It liberates. It allows for more reveal of your gift, of your passion. It allows you to. It taps into more potential. It's so crazy. The only time that God is going to expose your gift is when it's refined. When it's really refined, then you get the exposure. You have to trust and believe. You have to have that faith. You have to have faith. When you are in your purpose, it really reveals your true character and how well and how much more you truly believe in God. Well, whatever God calls, He provides for. What He demands in you, He has put in you. Whatever God demands, He supplies. Whatever God expects you to do, He already infected you with it, right? That means whatever God expects from you, He has already given it to you. Okay? Whatever God assigns, right? He has designed. And whatever God calls you out, He has already calls out within you, He already put it in you. Think about it, right? The seed. Let's say the trees, right? The trees that we have here, they carry a seed. The seed then germinates to become a tree, right? Okay. Your tree then produces some kind of fruit. You have a seed that needs to be germinated. You have to trust and believe. You want to make sure that you're living in your gifting, because that way you can go ahead and propagate the manifestation of God in your life. And also the man, people of God and other people in the world can also they can, they can rip from the fruits, right? Our aim of living, our reason for being, is to influence the world with our gifts, is to influence the world not just with our gifts alone, but also to ensure that we are living we are creating fruitfulness, we are producing things. Not about how faithful you are in your religiosity. It's not about that for God. God really wants you to be fruitful, okay, and multiply, subdue the earth and dominate it. This is why we're here. Again, my name is Doyin. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Have a great night. Thank you. Bye.
Don't forget, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.